And a new poll released last week shows strong support for an upcoming ballot item in November, Proposition 4. Now, if passed, the Texas Water Infrastructure Amendment allocates $1 billion annually for water projects for the next 20 years. Jeremy Mazer with Texas 2036, a nonprofit and bipartisan, public research and advocacy group, joins us now. Welcome back, Jeremy.
It's great to be back, Jenny.
Always lovely to see you. All right, so Texans will decide on Prop 4 this coming November. This poll gives us an idea on how some Texans will vote. What's your reaction to the poll? Were you surprised? Were you not surprised?
We've always found when we ask Texans about what do they think about water, what they care about their water, they're always concerned about the reliability of their water infrastructure, making sure it works, it doesn't leak, and there's adequate water supplies in our drought-prone state. The poll results we got back when we asked Texans about what do they think about Proposition 4 is that we're finding about nearly 3 out of 10 Texans and registered voters are planning on voting for Prop 4 this November.
All right, so let's remind people, what kinds of water projects will Prop 4 address?
Prop 4 sets up $1 billion per year that can go to the Texas Water Fund, and it can basically pay for 3 types of water infrastructure projects. The first are water supply projects, which we need for a drought-prone and growing state. The second are fixing our aging, deteriorating drinking water and wastewater, the leaks, the boil water notices. We can use this money to fix that. And the third bucket is flood protection, which is especially important in light of July's devastating news from the Hill Country.
Yeah, we lose billions and billions of gallons of water every year due to these aging infrastructure. All right, you and I have talked about water issues for years. Where do we stand on the water supply for Texans?
The good news about water supply for Texans is we have this thing called the State Water Plan. The challenge that the legislature tried to grapple with this year is how do we set aside money to build the projects described in the water plan that we need to prepare ourselves for future droughts and for a growing state and a growing economy. And so the upshot of the Prop 4 vote this November is that it'll provide reliable, dedicated funding that can be used to help pay for these water supply projects that we need to prepare for the next big drought.
Yeah, well, last year you guys came out with another poll that showed at least $154 billion is needed for long-term projects for the next 50 years. If Prop 4 is passed, it's a great step in the right direction.
Absolutely it is, Jenny. Texas 2036 found that the state needs to invest at least $154 billion over the next 50 years on expanding our water supplies and fixing our aging, deteriorating systems. The great news from this legislative session is that the legislature looked at the data and they approved a plan that will really work to take a bite out of this long-term price tag, build the water infrastructure we need, and fix the leaky pipes that need fixing.
So even if Prop 4 passes, Texans can't forget we still have to prioritize water.
You're right on that, 100%. And we need to remember that we live in a drought-prone state. As we saw with the weather forecast a couple minutes ago, rain is not always guaranteed. We're in that bullseye of drought right now, and it can get worse. We've seen this happen within a year, such as happened between 2010 and 2011, when we had the worst one-year drought of recorded history. So we need to be mindful that drought is part of the Texas experience, and the key to our success and our survival is making sure we have water when we need it.
Absolutely, and water experts like you watching out for us and coming on KVUE Midday to discuss and explain that. Jeremy, thank you so much for your time.